Mina does over $100,000 per month on Amazon, and I have one product that's done over $1 million in sales on Amazon. And in this video, we're gonna go step by step and show you how you can start your own passive income Amazon FBA business. And I know for me, Amazon has changed my life. It's allowed me to be able to have enough money to live by the beach in my dream location, to travel the world, be able to do pretty much whatever I want. And how about for you, Mina? I know it's changed your life too.
It's changed my life significantly. I moved out of Connecticut. I was working a miserable job. I was waking up 4:30 in the morning, going to bed 9:30. Life sucked, and I came out to California, and now I'm friends with Travis, and we surf every weekend. I've traveled over 18 times in 2020, so
Great. You travel so much.
I've been living life.
And right now is the perfect time to start an Amazon FBA business. This is the most important part. You know, Amazon is a $1.6 trillion company. E-commerce is growing like crazy. I think 2 years ago, e-commerce made up 12% of all retail sales. Last year, it jumped up to 16% of all retail sales.
And I think e-commerce is growing, and Amazon is the biggest one.
And that's why I talk about this. If you watched this channel before, you probably heard me talk about these numbers, but it's a huge freaking opportunity.
Yeah, if you don't start now, I mean, this is the best time to start. If anyone says that Amazon is dead, they're lying to you. Amazon is not dead. It's good and thriving, and we just launched more products, so start now.
And I can prove it's not dead because there's over 200,000 sellers on the Amazon platform making over $100,000. And now, something before we get into it, I do want to break down some numbers. For me personally, my Amazon business has done over $1 million in sales. That's revenue and not profit. I want to be completely straight up honest with you is, yeah, it's $1 million in revenue, and there was the cost of my product, which I spent over $200,000 on. There was the Amazon FBA selling fee, which is another $150,000. The Amazon FBA pick and pack fee, another $100,000. And there's a bunch of other Amazon fees and other fees associated with running a business. But in these last 3 years since launching my product on Amazon, I've done over $300,000 in profit, which is over $100,000 of passive income per year. I mean, it's a six.
How much more is that than your engineering job?
Way more. I'm not saying it's like you're gonna become a millionaire overnight. I'm not saying it doesn't take any work. It does take hard work to get started. But once you're up and running, these last 3 years have been the best 3 years of my life. And
same here.
Yeah.
I mean, ever since I moved, life has been a lot easier. It's by no means passive, but you are a lot freer. You can work from home. You can work from anywhere you want. I was able to go visit my family, which, you know, when you're working a 9 to 5, I was barely getting 2 weeks off a year. So it's definitely worth it. Even if it's a little bit of hard work at the beginning, it definitely pays off.
And one thing we haven't even talked about is, look, if you ever get sick of your business, if you ever want to walk away, you can sell an Amazon business. You can't do that with a corporate job. I sold the business, and in total, the value of the offer that I was given on my business is well over $1 million deal. And I'll talk about that in another video, but for the purpose of this video, we want to help you to be able to start your own Amazon business. And between us, we have a ton of experience on Amazon. Mina's crushing. Let's break down your numbers, doing over $100,000 a month in revenue.
Okay, so, you know, to sum everything up, for the people who don't want to get into the nitty gritty, it's about 25% profit of what I'm making, I'm keeping. So all those big revenue numbers, you know, it's supplements, it's a very competitive market, but let's say that my products right now are selling for $25. I get about $6 in Amazon fees, about 30% total just goes straight up to Amazon. 15% is the referral fee, plus the pick and pack fee where they put it in the envelope, send it. I do spend around $3 per unit on advertising. And so all in all combined, I'm making around $10 to $11 in profit per unit. And then combined, my entire revenue after, you know, my employees and everything combined is 25%.
So look I'm gonna have Mina back on to break down all his numbers, he has 4 different Amazon FBA businesses. If this video gets 1,000 likes, I'll have Mina on to really break that down in depth. But the point of this video is to help you start your Amazon business. And one thing we haven't mentioned yet is Amazon FBA stands for Fulfilled by Amazon. And the benefit of that is that you're able to send your products into the Amazon warehouse, and you're also able to list your product on Amazon's website, meaning whenever you get a sale on their giant platform, which, by the way, they have over 100 million Prime customers in the US.
That's crazy. That's a third of the American population.
People are buying a ton of stuff off Amazon, and so they allow you to sell products on Amazon, but on top of that, they allow you to send products into their warehouse, and when you get a sale, they pick it, pack it, and ship it out for you, meaning this is a passive income business. Again, some work to get started, but once you get it up and running, passive income business.
And some people, I think, call Amazon like a scam, but you have to understand that I literally have never touched my products. I've never had to pack them. I've never had to have a warehouse, and I sell thousands of units a month. So pretty much all I do is I make a phone call to my manufacturer. He makes the products, ships them straight to Amazon. Amazon receives them every time someone orders. And by the way, who do you trust more than Amazon right now? I don't think there's a single company that I trust more than Amazon. There's no one that delivers faster than Amazon. You get your stuff fast. Amazon brings a ton of traffic, a ton of ready to buy. When I go on Amazon, I know that my credit card is out. I know I'm ready to buy. So they do all the heavy lifting for you. All you have to do is just have a product that solves a problem better than everyone else's, product, and that's it.
Yeah, and people think it's really expensive to get started on Amazon, and it's not the truth. Like Mina, you started your business for $1,800. It's crazy. Like not everyone can start it for as cheap as Mina did, but he started it with $1,800, and we'll break down those numbers in a second. You wanna?
Yeah, I think the reason I started so cheap is because I didn't know anything. So, but anyways, it worked. So for me, it cost $275 in design fees. So I hit up a friend from college. She was, a design major. I said, hey, can you help me design my first supplement? This was before I even knew that I was gonna get on Amazon. Just needed to get the design going. By the way, you can go to nolimitcreatives.com. This is even better. You can go to nolimitcreatives.com. It's $80 for one design, and you can go and check their designs. They make incredible designs. I use them for everything. So that $275 could be $80, and it could be really, really good. Way better than when I started. Then I filed for a trademark, $450. Again, I overpaid for that. You can get it for $275 at uspto.gov. So file it yourself. Amazon fees or like this membership was $40 a month. I paid $80 for samples. I basically got like raw materials and things like that, put them together. My first production run was $500, which is 100 units at $5 a unit. And that was when I sent it to Amazon, I didn't know if I was gonna sell. So it was only 100 units. Shipping from my manufacturer to Amazon was $10. The LLC filing fee I incorporated in October 10th, 2018. So it's been, 2 years, a little bit over 2 years. That was $350. You can actually get it for $150 if you get it done in Wyoming. And I just opened 2 businesses in Wyoming for $150 each. Barcodes were $250. Use gs1.org. They're the best barcodes out there. Software and tools, I didn't really use much. You could use Helium 10. I know Travis has an affiliate link. He'll probably put it down here.
50% off if you use my link. Go ahead. Yeah.
So total came out to $1,954, and like I said, you could have probably saved $600. So it didn't take much to start. And look where I am now.
And I've had another student that did it around for the same amount. Carla started her business for around $1,800. Troy started his business for $5,000. You don't need a ton of money. In fact, for my business, I ended up raising $15,000 using Kickstarter, which basically means I got $15,000 in sales before I spent a dime on production. And I'll link a video on how you can start your own Amazon business even if you have $0. But it doesn't take a ton of money to get started on Amazon if you're doing things properly. And there are multiple different ways to sell on Amazon. There's not just one business model. And the problem is people oftentimes try to sell on Amazon using the wrong method. It doesn't work for them. And so they quit Amazon. And don't do that. So there's 4 different ways that I think you can sell on Amazon. The first one is retail arbitrage. And that's where you go and you buy a product at a discount at a store. Maybe you see a product that's normally $50, you buy it for $10, and then you flip it on the Amazon website for the full retail price of $50. And then after the Amazon fees and all the other stuff, you get a little bit of a profit. Now,
maybe it's a good way to kind of get started, get some cash. So if you need that $2,000 that I started with, maybe this is a good way to kind of get your feet wet, but that's about it.
Yeah, it's not a long-term sustainable business because every day you're having to go out, hunt for deals, and try to flip products on Amazon. If you don't have a lot of cash, that's one way you can get the cash to start your Amazon business. Next up is wholesale. Another thing a lot of people online are talking about, but I don't think it's a good business model. This is where you go to a business, let's say Nike. You buy shoes that are normally $100, you buy them at wholesale price, 50% off, and then you're able to flip them on Amazon for the full retail price of $100, and you keep all the money after the fees. Again, not the best long-term business model.
You need really good supplier relationships. You need tons of suppliers. You need tons of SKUs. Inventory management. I was actually just looking at a wholesale business today. They have over 2,000 SKUs on their account, and that's a nightmare to manage.
Hey, keep in mind, if it's easy for you to wholesale a product, everybody else in the world can buy that same product and flip it on Amazon. So it's, again, in my opinion, not a long-term sustainable business. It's kind of like this arbitrage temporary solution. And there's private label. I know.
Yeah. So private label, basically, if anyone says private label is a good business idea, they're lying to you and they're trying to steal your money. So private label is basically when you go on Alibaba, you look for a product, or you maybe use Helium 10 black box, you find a product and then you stick your label on. Well, guess what? That sucks because no one's gonna buy your product. Why should I buy your product when there's another one that has 1,000 reviews that's just like it with a different logo? So do not use that. Then the final way to do things is to actually invent your own product. And so the way to go about that is to find a problem and then create a solution to that problem that's better than everyone else's solution. Validate the demand for that problem. So make sure, let's say you're going to invent something like shoes that you can put on without using hands. Make sure that there's enough people looking for that solution. And if there is, and you create a shoe that's better than everyone else's shoe, well, you have a winning product.
And the products don't have to be like crazy innovative. I mean, I know with your product, it was different enough that people wanted to buy it, but it's not like you invented the next computer.
It's the best electrolyte supplement on the market.
Absolutely. And let's talk about, like, for instance, for my story, I invented a new nut butter, a macadamia coconut cashew blended nut butter.
That's delicious.
It's absolutely amazing. It comes in a little pouch, and there was no one doing something like that. All the other nut butters that were out there were marketed towards moms and kids. There was no premium product. So, and I'll tell my story really quick. You can tell your story really quick. I had a corporate job. 8 years ago, I was in a corporate job. I ended up getting really depressed because there was no incentive for me to work hard. So I ended up quitting my corporate job. I struggled. I mean, I've tried a lot. I've tried almost every way to make money online that there is. And I spent 4 or 5 years trying different ways to make money until I found Amazon and I created my own product. Then I launched a Kickstarter, raised $15,000, took that money, cashed out my 401k, and I launched my product on Amazon. And within 2 months of launching my passion product on Amazon, I was making $10,000 profit a month, $30,000 revenue every single month. And that lasted for 3 years. And,
when I saw Travis's video, this guy was making $50,000 a month.
Yeah.
I hit him up. I said, I got to meet this guy because he was absolutely killing it. My story is very similar. So I was an engineer too. I graduated top of my class. I had a bachelor's and a master's. I worked in corporate. I worked harder than everyone. I was that guy that came in, learned faster than everyone, worked harder than everyone. I kept working my way up. And then one day, I show up to my boss's office. I was waking up at 4:30 in the morning, going to the gym, going to work, commuting 45 minutes, coming back, training, sleeping. It was like jail pretty much. And then my boss brings me into the office, says, do you see yourself, at some point running this company? And on the drive home, I was like, this is going to be my life this is going to be like what my life is like for the next 30, 40, 50 years. I was like, I hate this. I need to get out. And so I said, I'm going to start my own supplement brand. Started it, didn't know anything about Amazon. YouTube videos, courses, whatever, looked into everything possible. And you know what? You took a bet on myself and I dived in. I didn't know if I was going to make the money or lose the money, but I just took the risk and here I am now. I'm living my best life and it keeps getting better.
And Mina's actually a student in the course, and I actually just reopened up the course, so if you're interested in that, I'll put a link down below. But let's get into this.
No one does it better than Travis, guys, because he has experience. He is selling. He has his product. He sold his business for over $1 million. So he checks all the boxes. There's no one better to learn from than someone who's actually doing it, and everything is very digestible and broken down. So I usually don't plug anything, but I know Travis very, very well, and I recommend it. And do you want to tell them how to get into your course?
Yeah, there's a link down below. You can join the wait list. I don't open it up all the time, but it is open right now. I just opened it up today. So if you're interested, check the link down below. But let's break it down. Let's show you step by step how you can actually do this. So the first step is product research. Let's talk about product research. How do you find your product?
So, it's pretty much simple. The way that I do my product research, and you can't fail. Okay, so instead of using keyword research tools and all of that mumbo jumbo that you see online, just find a problem in your life and create a solution. So I'm an MMA fighter. I was on keto. I was sweating a ton. I was losing a lot of electrolytes when I was training, and I was getting dehydrated. And I would drink a gallon of water a day. I was not replenishing my electrolytes. I went online to look for salt pills. I was actually taking chicken broth scoops with the spoon and downing it with water because just drinking broth sucked and it was too expensive. And so I was like, I just need a supplement that has a lot of sodium and potassium and magnesium, and I couldn't find anything. So guess what? I made it. And then, I went online, I validated. People were selling, Liquid IV was selling $1.5 million a month. I think they just got bought out by Unilever for over $400 million. So, there was massive supplement companies selling products that were packed with sugar that I couldn't buy because I was on keto, and they had very low amounts of sodium and potassium. So I basically created an electrolyte that worked much better for keto, and there you have it. It was a solution to a problem that was better than everyone else's solution, and I made it, pretty inexpensive. Everyone was selling $25 to $30. I sold it for, $22, and it just started selling.
And then for me, with my product, it was the same idea. I wanted a premium on-the-go healthy fat snack, and there wasn't anything out there. All the other stuff that was out there had sugar, it had palm oil.
There were jars.
Yeah, there were jars. I couldn't take it on a plane. I couldn't go anywhere with it, so I created my own product. So I think the question a lot of people are going to be having is like, well, what if I can't come up with an idea? Even though helium-10 isn't necessarily necessary, but it is, like, I do have a video, I'll link up here, like a product research video. You can always go on there and you can use different tools. Check out the video for more information. But let's talk a little bit about what makes for a good product. How do people know if they've got an idea that's actually going to sell on Amazon? Like, do you have any tips on that?
Yeah, so, when you're getting started, you don't want to go anything crazy. Look for something small, not breakable. If you're Travis, you don't want to put your stuff in glass jars, break
Which I tried, and I had a ton of issues. So yeah.
And I tried too with certain bags, and they broke. So try to go something for small that won't cost a lot of money in shipping. Something not breakable, nothing too complex that you need engineering or a lot of different molds for.
Avoid electronics. A lot of people are like, well, I've got this idea. It's this crazy contraption with all these electronics. Oh, I wouldn't mess with that person.
Yeah, not when you're getting started. Eventually when you get the hang of things, you can definitely do it. Try and go for something that's very well branded, because once you have a brand and you have a good following and a cult following and an audience, then you can pretty much sell them anything. So branding kind of is the strongest power you can have when you're
100%.
selling things on Amazon, because once you have a brand, people will buy your product regardless of the price, which means you can go premium. Travis, I know you went premium.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan. I think you should have, and I think we disagree a little bit on this, I think you should have the highest priced product there. And the reason for that is my product, $28 for a box of 10 nut butter pouches. It's the most expensive nut butter out there, which means I have the highest profit, which means I can spend the most on PPC, which means that I can basically, if there's any issues with my business, which I've had a ton of issues with manufacturing, we'll talk about that later. I was able to weather the storm because I had a ton of profit. Like, I had good cash flow. I had all these different things going for me. So I think having a premium product allows you also to have better customers, because you're not trying to compete on price, because there's always someone that's willing to lose more money than you. But if you have the best product at at a premium price, in the long run, I personally think you're going to do better.
Yeah, and Travis went the premium way, I went the cheap way, and we both made it happen.
Find something that you're actually passionate about, because again, this is not a get rich quick overnight. This is not a short run game. You're trying to create something that you'll be able to work on and love working on for the next year, 2 years, 3 years. It's a long-term game. And
that's the trick. That's the hack. Because it'll never feel like work when it's something that you truly care about. Yeah. But if you're trying to sell something that's, you have no passion at all, maybe hanging something on the wall, or like, a squirrel feeder or something when you don't even like squirrels, it's just gonna be painful day in and day out, dealing with the product.
And you'll understand your customer better. Mina understands who's buying Hydrolyte.
I'm the customer.
He's the customer, so he's making the perfect brand for himself. I understood who's going to be buying Performance Nut Butter, because I'm like, what is the ideal logo for my product? What is the product that I would want to buy? What's the messaging? And so I built from the ground up my ideal product. My first company that I was talking about earlier, my first company I started online was a dance clothing company. It was draining.
Travis doesn't dance, guys.
I don't dance, and it was so draining to pretend to be an 18-year-old girl writing articles about the top 7 dance tips. Trust me, and I didn't understand my customers. So, that company didn't do that well. When I launched Performance Nut Butter, I was able to hit my goal of $300 a day passive income in 2 months, because I understood what the customer wanted, because I am the customer. And it was fun starting that business. So make sure you have passion. And one thing we haven't really talked about, once you have an idea, you can open up your Amazon seller account. Super easy to do. People complicate this. Any tips on that?
Okay, opening up the seller account is the easiest thing ever. It's like signing up for a Google. Just make sure that you have an LLC, that you filed for an LLC. Make sure you have a business bank account. Once you have those two, all you have to do is go on sellercentral.amazon.com, sign up for an account. You fill in this stuff, they're gonna ask you for your EIN number. You can get your EIN once you file your LLC at irs.gov, and you can simply file for it. Fill in all that information. You'll open up an account. They'll ask for your passport or national ID to verify your identity. Once they verify that information, you also have to have a valid US address, and there's ways around that. If you don't, you can get a virtual address, as long as there is a mailbox that they might send a code in the mail for. You'll get that. enter it in, and then you have an account. And then from there, you can, create a listing. You can create a shell listing. If you're selling something like me, supplements, which is gated, they're gonna ask for, paperwork that you can easily get from your manufacturer, like an invoice or a certificate of analysis. So it's nothing crazy, guys. Just open up the account. Once you have the account, you can start listing stuff on Amazon, and you're good to go.
It's super easy. And one thing I'll mention is you don't necessarily need an LLC. You can do a DBA as
well.
Yeah,
that's true.
And that might save you a little bit of money. And let's actually, we'll talk about later, DBAs versus LLC. Don't worry too much about this. But the next step that I personally like to do is to start what I call a product launch group. And this is start marketing your product on Instagram. Start posting about your product on social media, TikTok. TikTok's blowing up. When I started my product, there was not really, TikTok wasn't really a thing. So I personally used Instagram, and when I had the idea for my product, I just started posting about it on Instagram, and people started liking it. And they're like, wow, I would buy that. And I'm like, cool, give me your email to let me know, and I'll let you know when it's ready to buy. So start building your tribe. And another tip I have is, as you're collecting all these emails, reach out to these people, ask them, hey,
send a personal email, a customized email.
Send them a personal email, get them into a Facebook group. And this is actually a really huge thing. If you can get all your potential customers into a Facebook group, you can start asking them questions. You can show them different logos for your product and say, hey, which logo do you like the best? And these are people that want to buy your product. They're going to tell you exactly which logo you should use. You can show different designs for your product, and they'll say, hey, this design sucks. You should add some color to it. And you're going to look at it and be like, oh, that's what happened with my product. Is it was black and white at first, and people said, oh, you need to add some color to this. And I'm like, oh, you're right. So they're going to help you make a better produproduct.
And Travis did this for his product, and I didn't. And he definitely had a lot of success. So when it came time to launch Neuro, which is the second, the nootropic coffee alternative company, I came to Travis. I was in the course, and I said, hey, do you have any tips? I would like to start this on Kickstarter. And now that we're doing this with a launch group, we have over 100 people that are ready and excited to buy our product. We actually got backers before we even launched on Kickstarter. And so, we've created this, we've involved the people. We said, what do you think of this logo? Because there's sacred geometry. So we asked them about the logo, we asked them about the shape, we asked them about the colors. And as I'm getting these people involved, they now feel like they're part of my brand. And when the time comes to launch, it's so much easier to launch than when I did it with Hydrolyte, where I had to, go to every single friend. And, what if you don't have friends? Or what if you're not in the US? It's gonna be a lot harder. So building a list and email list and building a group and a launch group will make your life 10 times easier. I've done it both ways, and I can attest to that.
So you're gonna have a better product because all these people are giving you feedback. Plus, they're gonna be loyal followers of your brand. They're gonna, like he said, buy your product. They're also gonna spread the message because it's not just your product anymore, it's their product, and they feel part of that ownership. And so once you have this idea, once you've got the tribe, the next step really is to manufacture your product. And let's talk a little bit about that.
So, you have many different ways of finding manufacturers for your product. You can start at Google. Alibaba is a very common one. China, it's very hard to beat China in terms of manufacturing. So you're most likely going to have to go to China unless your product is like a food or a supplement like Travis and I's product is. So when you're going to China, you're going to go to Alibaba. What I do is I create a product or like a manufacturer criteria spreadsheet. And I basically say, okay, this is the manufacturer's name. These are all the qualities that I'm looking for in a manufacturer. How good they speak English, how fast their communication is, do they have trade assurance, how many years experience they have, how many years they've been on the platform, gold star on Alibaba or not, all of these different qualifications. And so, and I reach out to as many manufacturers as possible, and I start filling all of these blanks. And now I have this basically grading sheet of how good each manufacturer is. And once I have that, then I'm like, okay, we're gonna disqualify some of these people, and then these ones, let's request samples from. Now, you can use a company like globalinst.com, and you can send all of the samples there to China. They can film a video, looking at all your samples and say, okay, 5 of these suck, there's 3 really good ones, consolidate them and send them to you to evaluate there. And then, if you're selling something like supplements or you're selling something like foods, go to Expo West and online and just look for names, and maybe you can go to Expo West, download the list of vendors that they have and reach out to every single one. Do the same thing, build that relationship.
Any category that you're selling a product in, I highly recommend going to that convention. So he's talking about Expo West for food, but if you're selling something that's whatever, like it's a household item. Go to those household item conventions or find different manufacturer conventions. Like you said, download the list of different people exhibiting there, email them, contact them. And I'll also throw in Google is a good option.
It's the best option.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, I gotta go to Alibaba. No, type in your product manufacturer, nut butter manufacturer, supplement manufacturer. Go to Google, just go one by one. And to his point, have a spreadsheet that you're listing out all these different people and call them. And what I found is when I called one manufacturer, they said, hey, we can't help you, but Bob over there can help you. And I might call him and he might be like, no, I can't help you either, but Sue can. And it might take you a little while, but if you're on the phone in building the relationships, and you're the expert at building relationships, that's a key. You want to talk about that?
And so one of the most important things I ever did was building a relationship with my manufacturer. Because I built a relationship with my manufacturer, I've been able to accomplish so many different things. I get a 1 week lead time, I get terms, I get more samples than anyone else. My manufacturer does R&D for me. So having a strong relationship with the manufacturer starts from when you reach out, because you can't reach out to your manufacturer and say, hey, what's your minimum order quantity? I want and like demand a lot of things. This is a person that you're reaching out to. So send a nice email, introduce yourself, say that you're trying to build a business, build that relationship. Once you guys are communicating, maybe you've chosen them as the manufacturer, send them some nice things, learn a lot about them. If they mention wife or kids or anything, try and note that down. I even have a notes section on my phone with everything my manufacturer told me, like his brother's name, kids, whatever, what they like, and always bring it up. I ask him, how's your wife? Didn't you say she had this thing or that thing or whatever? And, people really appreciate when you pay attention to what they say and when you listen and when you remember things. And so, don't start the relationship off just talking about money and minimum order quantity. Start it off on a good note, and trust me, it's gonna take you a long way.
And one thing I'll add is when you're looking at all these different manufacturers, there's a number of things you should keep in mind. One is minimum order quantity, very important. But another thing you should think about is how long have they been in business? Because if it's a brand new company, you might not want to work with them. But on the flip side, if they've been around for 20 years, they might not want to work with you. So you can ask all these different questions. You can ask, hey, what are all the different costs up front? So I did another video I'll link where I talk about how I got scammed. I had a manufacturer that stole $12,000 from me because in the fine print of the contract, which normally, do you sign contracts?
No, I don't generally.
Most people don't sign contracts. I happened to sign a contract with this manufacturer, and in the fine print, I didn't realize that there was all these different startup costs. So ask, what are all the startup costs from this moment till when we actually do our first production run? Make sure that there's no hidden things. Again, that's not common, but these are things you should think about. And as far as reaching out, one thing I would recommend, I'm curious to hear your thoughts too, is when you reach out, tell them that you want to do a production run of 5,000 units, even if you only want to do 500. But then once the numbers kind of go back and forth, you say, hey, let's do a test run of 500 units first. They might take you a little bit more seriously if you're doing something like that. Anything else?
Yeah, that 5,000 unit trick is also going to get them to give you kind of a lower price right up front, and because they say, okay, they're ordering 5,000 units, we'll give you a good price, and then you can start with that same price but for 500 units.
And one thing I'll also recommend is a lot of people get tripped up on how much should I order for my first production run, and my general advice is around 3 to 6 months worth of inventory. You don't want to order less than 3 months worth of inventory, because if you run out of inventory on your Amazon listing, it's not good. Amazon might blacklist you. You might lose your rank and may never be able to recover. On the flip side, if you order too much inventory, you're gonna have to pay for storage. You're gonna have to pay all this money for storage, and you might want to iterate on your product. With Ariana, my girlfriend's product, we actually ended up ordering by accident 1.5 years worth of inventory, and we found out about 3 months into it that there was a spelling mistake on the cards. So we had to wait 1.5 years before we were able to do version 2.0. So don't order too much inventory, don't order too little. Really do your research and figure out how much you're going to sell. What about freight forwarder and like getting the logistics and shipping? How do you deal with that?
So the same way that I have a grading sheet for my manufacturers, I have a grading sheet for my freight forwarders and my inspection companies. So inspection companies are incredibly important, because do not ever let anything go out of the manufacturer's warehouse without being inspected. I made that mistake. My first 100 units, 60 of them broke when they were being delivered to Amazon. It was a bag, and while it was being shipped to the customer, it exploded. And guess what? I got an incredible amount of returns on my first 100 units, and I learned the hard way. So, learn from my mistakes. Anything that you do, make sure you inspect it. To get the best inspector, again, it's the same thing. It's that grading sheet. You're gonna look at everything that you wanna grade in terms of how good their communication is, what their pricing is, how fast they are. One thing that I would mention is if you're getting an inspector in China, know that bribes are a big thing. So make sure that they're getting paid per hour and not per inspection, because if they're getting paid per inspection, they're gonna want to rush so they can get as many inspections as they want done. And so if they get bribed, you know that these people are not really doing a good job. But if they're getting paid by the hour, there's no need for them to get bribed or anything, because if they take a whole day doing an inspection, they're still gonna get paid, so they're a lot more comfortable. Also look at how much they're getting paid in terms of wages. If they're getting paid like a very minimum or below minimum wage, you know that they're more likely to get bribed because they're hungry and they're trying to feed their family. In terms of freight forwarders, it's very similar. Freight forwarding, there's a few terms that I want to clarify. There's FOB, which is freight on board, X-Work, which is EXW, and then there is DDP, which is door-to-door delivery. With DDP, it means the manufacturer pretty much delivers the entire product all the way to Amazon's warehouse or whatever final destination you want them to do. I do not recommend that. You do not want to put all of your eggs in one basket and have your manufacturer also do the delivery, because pretty much they're just going to hit up a freight forwarder, get the price from them, jack it up 10 or 20%, and then pass on the cost to you. With FOB, it's the manufacturer delivering it to the docks, which is freight on board. Again, I don't recommend that. There's no reason you should let the manufacturer deliver to the docks and then have your trucking company or your freight forwarder's trucking company try and figure out where it is. X-Work means that you will pick it up from the manufacturer at the warehouse and you'll handle it from there. All they have to do is get it done and leave it at the warehouse. And so that's where I would recommend you hire a freight forwarder. Now, the three parts involved if you're going from China to the US is there's going to be a trucking company from the warehouse to the dock, and then a boat from dock to dock, so the dock of China to the dock of America, and then a trucking company from the dock of America all the way to the Amazon warehouse. What the freight forwarder does is it finds the trucking company, finds the boat or the freight ship, and then finds the other trucking company, hires them all, gives you a final price, and obviously adds their profit on top of that. I recommend that you do that. You could do all the dirty work yourself, but why not just hire a freight forwarder? Make sure that they have insurance, make sure that they take care of the customs clearance and the broker, and they have someone that is going to clear the products through customs, and that they're very experienced, and it's also very highly recommended they have an office in China and an office in the US, because that makes communication a lot easier between the two countries.
And something to keep in mind when you're going to pay the manufacturer, a lot of people I got freaked out the first time I had to send an international wire. I usually actually send a wire, which I don't know, how have you done it? Did you PayPal?
Trade assurance. I usually do trade assurance. So Alibaba has a feature called trade assurance, and trade assurance kind of secures you. You can pay through trade assurance. You can use a credit card or Western Union or PayPal or whatever. There's like 4 options. And then if you don't get your products and you can prove it, they'll give you your money back. So usually if a manufacturer accepts trade assurance, it means that they're not going to scam you.
Right. And the way I've always done it is I pay 30% up front, and then I go get an inspector to check everything out, and then pay the other 70% of the bill before it gets shipped out. So this is something, there's a lot of ways around it. You can do, use trade assurance. You can do what I did, and I actually had a trusted manufacturer, so that's why I did the 30%, then the 70%. But this isn't something you should worry about. And one last thing, while we're talking about manufacturers, we should talk about is what kind of margins should people be looking for in your opinion?
I would say anywhere between 30 to 50%. Really 30 at like the bare minimum, because Amazon is going to take 30% from you. Your cost of goods is going to be around, your Amazon fees and cost of goods and everything is 30%. So you want to kind of have at least 30% of the profit. I like to go for 50% because I know a lot of that is going to get eaten in the expenses of the business and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I usually tell people a third for Amazon fees, a third for product costs, and a third for you, minimum. Obviously, the more you can do, the better. And again,
it usually starts up here, and then you slowly get eaten up, here and there. And, I want an improvement here, I want an improvement there. And before, when I started, my cost of goods were a lot lower, and I think I've gone up like $2 per unit right now, because I have better flavoring, better ingredients, better containers, shinier packaging. So,
but on the flip side, as you're producing more, you might be, a lot of people are able to lower their costs. So when you first start, for some people, it's going to be the most expensive it's ever going to be. You're producing 500 units, but if you're starting to produce 5,000 units, it's going to go from $5 a unit down to $4 a unit. Depends on your product, and it depends on what kind of improvements you're making.
Yep, exactly.
So now that we have our product manufactured, after all that, it's time to finally start selling it on Amazon. Let's talk about creating a listing. Any tips you want to give?
Yeah, so there's different parts of creating the listing. First thing and the most important part is the title, and that's what basically is the most important part, where Amazon is a cataloging system, and based on your title, they're going to place you somewhere in their catalog. So make sure that your main keyword is right up front, right at the beginning.
We should explain what keywords are for anybody that doesn't know. So keywords are just what people search for in Amazon that you want to show up for. For instance, for my product, it would be keto nut butter. My keyword is keto nut butter. Your product would be
electrolyte powder.
So those are your keywords, and I actually recommend first, before you even think about your title, figure out what are your keywords, because everything else is going to revolve around that. So yeah, so you have your keywords, and you want that to be part of your, yeah.
And the best way to kind of get your keywords based on what Travis is saying is you can use Helium 10, look at your top 10 competitors, and those are generally like the top 10 competitors who are not like fully branded. So it's not that people are looking for them by name. They're just like the top sellers that are selling the same product. Go into Cerebro in Helium 10, put them in, reverse ASIN lookup, and then you can go down and click where it says advanced filters, 9 minimum ranking competitors, and that will consolidate the intersection of all of those keywords. So every single product, whatever keywords they're ranking for, it'll kind of do the intersection, and it'll give you a really clean list of keywords. Sort by search volume. The higher the search volume, the more important the keyword is, and so your main keyword would be the highest search volume keyword.
I highly recommend taking some time to do this, and you don't necessarily have to go with Helium 10. There is the free Google Keyword Planner. It's not as accurate because basically what it does is it tells you how often people are searching for those keywords on Google. So I do recommend, if you're first starting out, check out Helium 10. I do have a discount code linked down below. And here's the cool thing, you can always sign up for a month, and I think they have a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can get all your keywords. And
plus, you can use it for free. I think 2 times a day.
Yeah. There's a free. So there's no excuse not to actually take the time to do keyword research. But after you've done your keyword research, obviously crafting your title, and a key is putting your keywords into your title, but in a way that looks natural, that humans are going to want to click on. Because Amazon, yes, it is a search engine, it is an algorithm, and it looks at the keywords in your title. But a big factor in this is how often do humans click on it. And remember, at the end of the day, that's the #1 thing that Amazon is looking at.
You're selling to people.
You're selling to people. So don't just stuff your title full of keywords. Try to make it look natural and naturally include your keywords. Next thing you're gonna wanna look at is
the images. So
main image.
Obviously, if you have bought anything on Amazon, you know that you don't read the description or the bullet points. Yeah. It's just too much words, right? And people are lazy, they don't wanna read the words. Make sure that your images are incredibly salesy. So, and what I mean by that is that they sell the benefits of your product. So the first one is gonna be the main image. Make it clean, make it crisp. It has to have a transparent background. You can't have anything other than your product. So make sure you utilize as much space as possible. At least 2000 by 2000 pixels. Crop it so it's as close as possible and takes as much space as possible. And also compress the image so it loads a lot faster. Now, for the rest of your images, make sure the way that you showcase your product is features, benefits, and why it matters to me as a consumer. So make sure it's very clearly, like, don't tell me that it's, 10W99 steel and this and that and hard stick, non-stick surface. I don't care about that. Tell me what the benefit is and tell me why it matters to me. So don't just tell me, it lasts a long time. Why does it matter to me for it to last a long time? Well, because you will save money and you'll never have to buy another one again.
For an example for this, for my product, I could put 17 grams of fat. Nobody cares that it has 17 grams of fat. What they care is long-lasting, healthy energy. That's what people want. Or they want, this will keep you in keto, which is, people want 17 grams of fat because it's gonna keep them in keto. So talk about the benefits to them. Don't use the technical jargon. The classic example of this is the iPod. The iPod, they said 1,000 songs in your pocket. They didn't say 1.24 gigabytes of memory. That doesn't mean anything to anybody.
Yeah.
You gotta translate it for people. So do that. And another thing I wanna point out is the title, the main image, and the number of reviews is the only thing that people see in the search results. So title, main image, and reviews is going to be your most... Yeah, and the price. That's a good point there too. So we talked about all the other images where you're going to show the benefits.
Exactly.
Same thing is true with the bullet points, right? But here you want to include your keywords.
Exactly. So the bullet points, again, is another place where you can showcase. I suggest that the beginning of your bullet points, you do make it in all caps. You highlight a very clear benefit and why it matters to the customer. Make it so that if they read those 5 words for every single bullet point, it's very quickly understandable why your product is better than everyone else's product and why you should buy that product. And then, for the rest of the writing in there, stuff it with some keywords, make it sound nice. Most people are not going to read that, so it's a good opportunity for you to put keywords in, but also, make sure for the people who do read that, they're not like, wow, I'm turned off because this doesn't make any sense.
And another thing I'll add here, a pro hack, is put in one of the bullet points 100% satisfaction guaranteed, 30-day money-back guarantee, something like that. Because here's the truth. Every single product on Amazon has a 30-day money-back guarantee. So just hit them over the head with, hey, there's no risk to try this. Because people don't want to spend money unless they know that it's going to work out. But if you can alleviate some of that fear, they're more likely to convert.
Remind them that Amazon will always refund them the money if they just send the product back. So, and you can always also add, reach out to us. You do not have to send the product back. So if you're not selling something very, very expensive, you can always say, hey, reach out to us. For me, my supplements, if anyone reaches out and says, hey, I'm not happy, I am more than glad to give you your money back. It does not cost me that much, to refund someone, but it'll keep, my reviews good. It'll prevent negative reviews, and it's definitely going to be a lot easier to convince people to buy because they have nothing to worry about.
And then there's also the description, which the same rules apply. You're just trying to talk about the benefits, A+ content. You can have an enhanced, brand content down there.
And that's the same as the 8 images. It's again, make it all images, put text in there, infographics, make it super, super clear what the benefits of your product are. You can even compare them with your competitor's product and say, my competitors are this, that, my product is this, and that, and that's why it's a lot better.
And people can't, when they're buying something online, hold your product. They don't know what it's going to be like to own it. So what you're trying to do is replicate that experience, show them the benefits, but also make them feel like, oh, I know what this is going to be like to buy it. Again, that'll alleviate some of the fear. They're more likely to convert. Another thing that you can do that's going to alleviate some of that fear is the Q&A section. You can get friends and other people to leave questions and then answer those questions.
You can use your own buyer account to leave questions. So one thing that I do is I go into all of my competitors' listings, I pull out all of their questions, and I go with my buyer account. So my buyer account, is technically Mina Elias, but I change my name and I make it customer. And then I go and ask customer, and I just ask 100 different questions. How many grams of sugar is this? How many calories is this? Is this keto? Is this vegan? Is this vegetarian? Blah, 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 blah. And I ask every single question that has ever been asked on any one of my competitors' products, because remember, people are going in there and they're looking for a reason not to buy your product.
That's a good point.
Because that's how we do anything. It's process of elimination. I'm trying to buy a camera. I have 5 different cameras in front of me, and I want to say, okay, well, this one's not going to be clear enough. This one's battery is too short. This one, that, and kind of by process of elimination. So don't get caught in that process of elimination and get eliminated.
And people are going to be unsure. And a lot of people, they're not going to go out of their way to ask a question. When I go on Amazon, I'm like, I don't know, is this going to work for my camera? I don't want to ask it, but if it's already there, I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess I might as well buy this. And the last thing I guess we should talk about with the listing is reviews. What's your strategy to get reviews? And I'll share my strategy as well.
So my strategy is pretty simple. I just pretty much ask a lot of friends and family, and then I go into Instagram, and I find the people who are interested in my product. So for example, electrolyte powder, there are CrossFit people, there are yoga people, there's so many different people who would want to use my product, and I talk to them, I engage with them, and I say, hey, I would love for you to try my product, have them buy the product, and then from there I say, would love to get your honest feedback on my product and ask them to leave a review. And most of the time this works. However, I actually just got my numbers back from last week, and I think I reached out to 260 people. About 65 responded, and we sent the product to all 65. We got maybe 34 reviews just in the last week. And so those are the kind of numbers from 240, 34. So if I wanted 340 reviews, I gotta hit up 2,400 people. Just to give you an idea of, this is tedious. When you're starting out, you don't have an assistant. I have a full-time employee doing this, but when you're first starting out, you're gonna have to spend a lot of time convincing people, to do that. But there is plenty of people who are willing to try your product for free.
Now, warning, I will say, if you're getting friends and family to leave a review, it's against terms of service on Amazon. Be very, very careful. Never ask someone to leave a review that's ever shared an internet connection with you. I actually had a mutual friend of ours, James, come on, and we talked about every time we've ever been suspended on Amazon and what we did to get out of it. I'll link that video, but be very careful when getting reviews. Don't try to do too much review manipulation. My strategy is completely a white hat strategy, and that is to do the product launch group, to get a bunch of people on an email list and tell them to go buy the product and basically say, hey, can you leave an honest review? And if you did a good job getting them involved with the brand, getting them involved with actually being a part of the building of this company, they're gonna naturally wanna build a review. Now, truth is on Amazon, everyone's really afraid that, oh my God, I'm gonna get suspended, they're gonna shut down my account.
I don't care about the terms of service.
Yeah, and a lot of people do a lot of things that you're not supposed to do, and it's generally okay. But I gotta just say, be careful,
Yeah.
you know. But
Jeff Bezos does a lot of we don't like.
that's true. He does a lot of things that, like, you know, are against the rules. But anyways, be careful when you're first launching, and you're probably gonna be okay, but just watch yourself. And this brings us how to launch a product. And at this point, we already have our product manufactured, but how do you actually launch the product on Amazon? And this is one of the most important things so many people get wrong. And what I recommend, again, is having that Facebook group, having the Instagram and the email list, and leading up to your launch date, start letting them know, hey guys, the launch is 1 month away. Hey, it's 3 weeks away. Hey, 2 weeks away, 1 week away, 3 days. Tomorrow is the big day. And what I recommend when you launch is have it at a discount. So my product's normally $27.99. When I launched, it was $19.99. And I told everybody it's gonna be $19.99 for 1 week only, so hurry up and buy. Because part of the way that the Amazon algorithm works is it's gonna see how many sales are you getting at any given time in the first week. And if you get a ton of sales from the first week and a ton of reviews, it's gonna put you to the top of the search results. And you know what happens? When you go to the top of the search results, you're gonna get more sales because people are searching for your product and they're clicking on your product and they're buying. And it's this snowball effect. And that's what happened when I launched my product. The first month I made $15,000. The second month I made $30,000, and it stayed 30, 40, it went up to $50,000 at one point. So that's how I launched. What are your thoughts on launching?
PPC. I mean, you're talking to a PPC expert here. So I highly recommend that you launch auto campaigns, main keyword campaigns, top 10 keyword campaigns. However, don't spend too much money right off the bat. Your product is probably not going to be profitable because it has no reviews. So when you launch those auto campaigns, first of all, segregate the 4 auto campaigns. Have a close match, loose match, complements, and substitutes. And then when you do your other, main and top 10 broad phrase and exact keyword campaigns, obviously me and Travis recorded a full video on this. But
links up here and down below.
Yeah. Make sure that you have a big budget and a small bid. You kind of want to show up, but just enough where you're getting traction and people are clicking on you, but not too much where you're showing up right next to these big competitors with thousands of reviews. You're gonna get crushed. A lot of people are gonna click on you because they're curious, but no one's gonna buy you because the actual product that they're gonna buy is the one with 1,000 reviews. So until you get a few reviews, kind of keep your bids a little bit low, but PPC is incredibly powerful. You're also building a ton of data, collecting a ton of, keywords that, people are searching for your product, using, and that's a very valuable data, which you can then use to launch more PPC campaigns. And PPC is the evergreen strategy. The only strategy that, surpasses that is to actually advertise on social media, and then you can bring customers into Amazon just to, check out your product. But other than that, PPC will make you visible to the millions of customers on Amazon that will then, buy your product.
And for me personally, to be fully honest, I like to do the launch. I like to wait till I have 5 reviews before I start doing PPC. Other people have a very different strategy. There's not a wrong or right way to do it. But that brings us to the next thing is, so you launch your product, then what? I mean, for me, to be honest, once I launched my product, I kind of sat back and I started personally enjoying life a little bit more. But I know you're a little bit more on like, let's grow this thing.
I'm a very aggressive person.
Yes.
So, once you launch your product, it's now continuous improvement. So for me, the job is never done. I keep working on my PPC. I keep improving my listing. I keep working on my actual physical product. I'm nonstop gathering data. Now that I have a product, let's go, you can go to PickFu, for example, and then you can say, okay, well, I have this image and this image, which one is better? I have this and that, and you can constantly test 2 things and ask for people's feedback. I actually learned something crazy about my product the other day. So I put my listing with no reviews and my 2 other competitors listing with no reviews up on PickFu, and I said, which one would you buy and why? And I came in second place, and the first place won only because Amazon said that their price per ounce was cheaper, even though mine was actually cheaper, but there was a glitch and they kind of showed that theirs was cheaper. And theirs was 30 and mine was 24, but they said that theirs is better because it was cheaper. So, you'll get a lot of valuable data by asking people. So, it's always continuous improvement. You're trying to get more reviews, launch more PPC campaigns, improve your product, improve your listing. There's also a video section at the bottom of your listing where you can upload videos from your own account, again, from that customer account. I took my product, I went to a lot of people, I said, hey, I want you to pretend that you're opening this and drinking it. And they opened it, poured it in a cup, drank it, they said, ooh, so tasty, blah, blah. And I filmed every single one and I started uploading it to my listings. And it's social proof. You know, people are, one of the reasons I bought my shotgun mic was because there was a video of someone saying, here's what I sound like without a shotgun mic. Here's what I sound like with a shotgun mic. And it sold me, you know? And so, you know, things like that, social proof is very important. So I'm always just working on improving every single detail of my business.
I'd say if there's one thing though you want to work on once you launch that's really going to grow your sales, it is Amazon PPC. But another thing you can think about is if you're selling your own product that you created, you don't have to just do it on Amazon. You can create a Shopify website. You can start doing social media. You can start working with influencers. You can do affiliate marketing. You can do PPC outside of Amazon. You can use Google ads or Facebook ads. There's a ton of different opportunity to grow and
grow a real business.
With all that being said, if you want, I just opened up an advanced Amazon FBA training program. Click right here. Mina is in it. A lot of other students have had a ton of success. So check that out and join today. I'm going to be closing it very soon. Thanks guys for watching, and remember to enjoy the journey.
Like and subscribe.